Hello Seawolves! It's Sunday and I'm back. I'm sorry that there was no report yesterday, but Seawolves do best when they're underwater, out there heeling over, sailing. So that's what I was doing yesterday with some friends. And then after I did a bit of solo sailing also myself, because my friends of course had to go home at some point. So I lengthened the experience a little bit because I'd missed it so much over the last 2 weeks or so. I wasn't really able to, really go out because I had to do a few small repairs on the boat. But everything good now again, so I really enjoyed and just wasn't able to make a report for you guys yesterday. But I'm gonna get right back into it today, and I made a fresh little pot here. Actually let this stir for 7 minutes, because several of you in the comments told me that I have to pour the coffee, but then I have to let it stir for 7 minutes, otherwise it's no good. So this is good stuff, according to you. Here we go. Absolutely smoking hot, so I have to be real careful here. Are you ready? Are you all ready for this? Mugs at the ready? Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1, enjoy. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. And I have to say, I'm very happy to be back also and seeing what I see right away, because Pip Hare in a very good position today. She actually made it to position 17 and actually made a video about it also, so you guys can see here.
Can't quite believe it, but I updated the positions this morning and I'm up to 17th, which is pretty incredible. I've been pushing hard for the last 24 hours and I deliberately went south so that I could have a little bit more breeze, and it looks like it's paid off. And Medallia's just doing her thing. I'm so impressed with how well the boat's going. It's incredible, and yeah, I love this boat. I hate it sometimes too, but right now I love it. And it's going to be short-lived, I know. Lot of foilers now in the rear view mirror, and I don't think they're going to stay there. So I thought I'd just celebrate this small victory with just doing something for me. So I'm going to wash my hair, because I think it's been nearly 3 weeks since the last time I washed my hair, and this, I plait it so that it doesn't knot up, but this one has actually, I think, turned into a dreadlock, which is just rank. It's pretty rank. I mean, lots of me is rank right now, but that in particular is disgusting. So I'm making water. See the bubbles, which are currently going the wrong way, which is not good. So when my tank is full, I will reward myself with clean hair, which will stay that way for about 10 minutes, but it'll be worth it.
Super cool, right? So she did a little tactical move there, going a little bit further south. We can actually see it on the, I can bring you into the map here. We can actually, see her on the map here. So she did this little bit of a more southern bend here, went south through the stronger weather, and actually, made quite a bit of headway there, overtaking the Da Costa, of course. They've overtaken each other several times, so that battle is really, raging on very nicely, which is cool. Then we have Manuel behind there, and actually Jeremy Bijou right behind there. So very, very cool to see that from the kind of behind side of that little wolf pack that she was with, she's now moved almost to the first position in that, right behind Arnaud Bozes, who is still really leading there, but she's doing really well. And actually Arnaud's speed is 13 point something knots and hers 16. And she's quite a bit further south also than Arnaud right now. So who knows? She might overtake Arnaud also at some point. Would be interesting to see. But anyway, really proud, really cool to see that Pip is doing so well. Somebody else I wanted to talk about, who was kind of doing, a heroic thing, is Louis Burton, because he went, of course, almost to the first place for a while. They're doing really well on Bureau of Valet. but they ran into some trouble. His mast track apparently came loose. And so he is right now hiding behind the Anara research station. So it's a small island. You can see it on the screen here. It's this kind of rectangular looking shaped island. And yeah, so he's right now kind of taking shelter in the lee of that island in order to make several repairs. So his mast track came loose. Also been having massive problems with his autopilot, with his self-steering, which basically he hasn't had self-steering for the last 36 hours or so, maybe a little bit longer. So he's more or less hand steered the boat to this position in order to see if he can make everything work again. So I hadn't really seen much of this news, you know, in the official reporting. So yeah, that's what's going on there. And yeah, I hope he makes it through. I'm really a little bit nervous that that with all the problems that Lewis has been having, especially with the autopilot, which is very similar to what actually Pip Hare talked about with me in the interview, because he was having, you know, very similar autopilot problems, and he was actually more or less in the same position here, close to the tip of New Zealand, when he had hand steered for quite a while and was really exhausted from that, and was literally this close to saying, I'm gonna find a marina, I'm gonna park the boat there, and you know, I'm giving up. And finally, of course, told us that with the help of his wife and of the fans, you know, cheering him on, saying, come on, you've come so far, finish it, go for it, that he actually you know, managed to find a good solution to this autopilot problem by having it steer to a course line, so not wind or compass course, but actually to a trajectory line programmed into the plotter, which is, you know, it's kind of derivative information of derivative information. But it worked. It got him stable autopilot steering from that point on, and he got back into the race and actually did quite well on his speed there. So if Lewis's team is watching, you probably already tried this, but who knows? Maybe that's something that you guys could try also for him. But it is a serious problem, you know, this continuing challenges with auto steering systems. You know, Sebastian Deschameux having 3 autopilot units on board, all of them malfunctioning, having to hook them up again. It's just a returning thing in this race, because it's so difficult for autopilots to steer when going downwind, and well, we've talked about all these details before. And so sad to see that he was doing so well for a while. I mean, we were all here at the Seawolves rooting for him and saying, he sailed so well, he's very likely going to be leading this race at some point. And yeah, sad to see that he's now sheltering behind this island, and that there is, of course, some chance that this is not a situation that he's comfortable with, going really into the real heart of the Southern Ocean, right underneath the Pacific, you know, the loneliest place on the planet by far, and also the furthest away from any real rescue option. So you really have to believe in the boat before you do that. This is a natural jump off point where historically in races almost always 3 or 4 boats give up at this point because of reasons like this. It's not that the boat is broken, they've made it so far, but you know, this is a real difficult, you know, 4,000 mile stretch of ocean that they have to cross all by themselves. And yeah, you just don't want to have that feeling that you might get stuck somewhere, especially if you're, you know, more to the back of the fleet. Now, right now, he's still kind of at the end of the middle of the fleet, but, you know, the back is approaching fast. So for him, it's all these different factors coming together. And like I said, I just hope that he's able to effect repairs in a way that makes him feel confident that he can continue. And also, you know, is able to repair the other small problems and get his mast track back, you know, mounted on, so that he can trust that again. And then we'll have to see what happens. Then let's move to the gentleman in front of the fleet, because quite interestingly, we see that that high pressure that I talked about 2 days ago, that was going to kind of move south and slam right into the leader group, kind of, you know, really stopping them dead in their tracks, hasn't actually really come down that far. So instead it's come down a little bit, but it's kind of moving parallel with the fleet, and it seems that it's actually going to continue doing that. So if we skip a little bit ahead here to Monday morning, then actually a few hours later we see that it does, move kind of close to that area where the 3 leaders are right now, but it's not really coming more down to the south, and they can actually follow this kind of green patch that we see kind of moving right underneath the low pressure. And I think that if they just follow that, which they're kind of right in the middle of it right now, and I think they can more or less follow that at the good speeds that they're at right now. I mean, they're doing 15 knots, 17 knots, same goes for the other 2 gentlemen, 18 knots here. So they're doing a good speed. They can follow this system, and I think they can still follow it for the next, well, day or so, maybe longer. So we're going to Tuesday. Yeah, I think that should be just fine. It's only then, so this is actually Tuesday around 11, 12. Then we see that this low pressure here is coming down, and so the leaders will be well past that by then. However, the men behind the leaders, so we have this group here that's being led by Boris Herman right now. By the way, congratulations, Boris, for getting to 4th position, man. Super cool. And of course, Jean Le Cam still holding on strongly in 5th, also just amazingly done. But we see this kind of streak of high pressure and then this whole kind of line sort of coming through. And as the prediction is standing right now, that is going to slam into the fleet. So if we look at their position right now, they are already at a bit of an unpleasant angle, not to have the wind right in their back. So they have to kind of jibe through and forth. They have this little high pressure zone right in front of them, and the big high pressure just laying all over the fleet there, leaving them really nowhere else to go but south right now. And then as the weather keeps sinking or keep going forward, we see that by tomorrow that starts to sink in, making only a very narrow band for them to keep moving in that direction. And then as we go to the end of the day tomorrow, it's going to just slam right into the fleet there. And then as we keep going on, we see that it's just going to stay there with very light winds that they're going to have to be beating into. Sometimes they have a bit of a beam reach situation. If they want to go up higher, they have to go right into the wind. And so I'm really sorry to say, but that's going to continue all the way up to, well, Wednesday. We see here very unfavorable winds at first, and then it'll get a little bit more favorable, but actually for most of them it will be a slight beat. So their boat speeds won't go far over 13 or 14 knots. And that's going to keep on going all the way to Thursday and Friday, actually only going to get really quite worse, as you can say, with the really strong winds coming up here. And so my prediction right now is that the 3 gentlemen in front are going to move right through before all this mess hits the rest of the fleet. But the 4 men behind them are going to get the full brunt of this high pressure. So they're just going to have their wind evaporate in front of their eyes. And then for everybody else behind them, so if we look at this picture here right now, what we're looking at all the way back to where Armel is doing. By the way, Armel really fast again. But this whole group, except for the 3 leaders, look at where they are as far as the distance, how this goes. And then look, okay, so 24 hours from now, boom, we see that high pressure go. And then another 24 hours, where would they be? So they would be more or less in the position where Thomas Rouillant is right now. We go 24 hours again, boom, right in the middle of no wind at all. We skip another 24 hours, boom, wind against them from the wrong direction, strong wind, they start beating. Another 24 hours, only more problems. They can't go more south, so they're already very close to that ice line. So nothing really for them to do about it. It's just a strong beat. Another 24 hours, boom, even stronger, more problems, still the wrong direction as they move through there. So this is a great opportunity for the guys in front who, if we skip a little bit more, I mean, they're going to have some quite unfavorable winds also ahead of them. But at least for the next 2.5 days, they're still going to be okay. Not super strong winds, but they're going to be managing and they're going to be sailing in the right direction. But for everybody else behind them, all the way up to Armel, you all know that I don't really put a lot of value in weather predictions that are anywhere more than 3 days away. It's whatever, right? We can't really say anything with any type of assurance in there. But the next 2-3 days we can be pretty sure on, and it looks like these 3 are going to be moving nicely through, not too fast, and everybody else behind there, I would say you need to get more to the north. You need to get higher, because this whole southern area is going to be problematic. And especially if you're very close to the ice line, you're going to have nowhere else to go. Whilst if we look at the same prediction, so for the VR races here, here's my tip, right? So this is the situation right now. Say that you're somewhere close to the position, somewhere in the middle of this pack. You're going along with Boris and with John and the rest. If you were to start moving more towards the north now, so taking a bit of a course that will bring you a bit more north, and we go 24 hours ahead, you're going to get into some lighter winds, right? But you're still going to be sailing. You're not going to go all the way into the high, but you're going to go as high as you can right now to still have some wind. We go another 24 hours ahead. You're already going to be through this patch, so you're going to have all that low wind behind you, and you're going to be behind that system. Then you're going to be beating a little bit, but you're going to have good wind, right? Then we go another 24 hours ahead. You're going to be higher now. You have some space to actually let yourself fall more towards the south, and you're going to have a better angle to actually keep moving in the right direction without having to go on a full beat to stay away from the ice line. We go another 24 hours ahead, say that it develops this way. Again, now you don't have to beat straight into these strong winds. You can actually go on a beam reach or slightly below because you have some space to let yourself float a little bit more to the south. So that's kind of would be my tip for everybody now, and it's also a little bit what you see both Apivia and Linked are doing right now, going a bit more to the north, giving themselves a little bit more space. Maybe they're thinking the same thing. I would say when I see everybody else behind here hugged so close to the ice line that maybe until now that was the right idea, but right now looking at the prediction, I would say set your course to a northeastern line and try to get up as much as possible without actually getting into the bad wind, and then tomorrow just move through that high and try to get to the other side as fast as possible, so that when the stronger winds hit, you can actually have some speed and keep moving in the right direction. So that's my tip there. That goes actually, so that's kind of my message for everybody all the way up to Armel, even though he's still days away. But this prediction that we're seeing right now, so this is actually 5 days away from now. And so that means 5 days away from now, Armel is going to be here. He's going to be more or less right, on the edge of that storm, most likely. And so he's going to want to be a little bit more north. You don't want to be too close to the ice line as this hits, because the direction of it is just not very favorable. So a line not too close to the ice line, but actually a little bit more to the north, I would say strategically in the long run seems like the smarter option for everybody until about Armel. For the rest of the group, very, very hard to say, up to New Zealand and there. But for them, it looks like, let's go back to the prediction right now, that actually they will have quite favorable winds. So we see this nice kind of fast airstream here that's kind of going around a low that's positioned a little bit lower. And the whole group that Pip is in, all the way up to basically the end of the fleet, they're more or less past the last low also, except for I think this is Aria, except for Ari. Ari will have to deal with this high pressure, but the rest is through. And it looks like, we hop ahead 24 hours, good wind for everybody, another 24 hours, they'll be here, good wind for everybody, another 24 hours, still good wind for everybody because they'll be somewhere in here, another 24 hours, good wind there. So more or less for them, everybody all the way except for Ari, unfortunately, is going to have 4 to 5 days of great wind. Great position, great angles to sail at. So Pip is going to have a great time. I mean, Pip is sailing really fast right now, and if your team is listening, you're going to be having fun sailing really, really fast for the next 4 days. So there's great news there. The 3 leaders are going to get a little bit ahead now, and everybody behind there is going to ram straight into that system there. But if they go a bit north now, they have a chance to keep moving fast. If they don't, they're in for a strong beat about starting about 2.5 days from now, and it's not going to stop for another 3 days then. And I think it probably will have passed by the time that they get there. So all the way to trip on, like I said, and then beyond. So that's pretty much it there. Then if we look at actually what Armel is doing right now, because he's been just doing so good, and yeah, very good average speeds. So, you know, right now doing 16 point something knots, more or less equaling those around him. He's in slightly less favorable winds as far as his direction. So he has good wind, he has good speed, but preferably he would take a line that's a little bit less aimed toward the south and a little bit more to the east. So he's losing a little bit of distance, even though he's not really going significantly slower than the rest. And yeah, the back of the fleet we already talked about. I think Charel, Jeremy Bijou, also in quite a good position today. He's really going to be able to push his foils over the next 3-4 days and make really good speed. I think he's doing 18, yeah, he's doing 16 now, 18 knot average over the last 24 hours, and I think his 24 hours before that was also 17. So then, you know, if we look at the rest of the fleet, Medallia, Pip, they're all doing 15, 16, 17. So Charel's obviously faster, not super much faster because they are all really pushing their boat at maximum speed right now, but he is faster, and so he is going to keep moving through that fleet. And I think in 4 days, bold prediction, I think Jeremy in 4 to 5 days is going to be sailing together with Arnaud Boisseries, somewhere around Arnaud Boisseries. He will have overtaken everybody else. And I think he's going to be in the position that Pip is in right now. So Pip is 17 right now, and nice challenge for Pip. You know, try to stay ahead of Charel for the next 4 days and prove me wrong. But I think that 4 or 5 days from now, good chance that Charel will be in 17th position. So we'll see what happens then. And yeah, that brings us, of course, to the guy all the way in the back of the pack. Let's see. So we have here Arie Heusela and Sebastian Destremeux, you know, who have problems with their autopilot again. And yeah, it seems like they have a high pressure again right in front of them, and so yeah, they do have the option to go around it to the south, but they have to make a bit of a bend, so extra miles there, and especially Arie seems to be steering right into it. So maybe he's having some kind of problem again with his auto steering. I don't know. His track does look a little bit jaggedy of late, and he made a bit of a strong turn into the high pressure about 6-7 hours or so ago. And so I don't exactly know what's up with that, but there's a good argument to be made that he's probably having some problem, and he is consciously steering the boat into this high pressure now in order to be able to affect some new repair. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'll definitely check into it tonight so I can let you know a bit more about that tomorrow. And yeah, Sebastian Destremeux all the way in the end doing okay. I mean, having a good speed, 13 knots right now. I think his boat is pretty much you know, working you know, at a 100% right now, save some minor damages. So he's in the back, he's relatively slow, but he should be okay, and having actually okay speeds also for the next day and a half to 2 days before he also gets near that same high pressure that Arie is in right now. And yeah, so that's my prediction slash advice for the next few days, depending on what position you're in. And that's it for the report today. No America's Cup news. That will start again tomorrow, because I simply did not have time to look into everything yet, so I'll get back to that tomorrow. Thank you all again for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the like button, go to seawolvestv.com for all of the other info that you need or want, and I'll see you all with a fresh cup of coffee tomorrow.